Welcome back to Becoming a Published Author is Fun. And if that doesn't make any sense to you, check out episode 8. Today we are in 25, episode 7. And we're going to be looking at websites. Now I know I've talked about that in the past, and I will talk about it again in the future. It's an important aspect, and you need to understand the whys. And actually, we're going to get into the types here a little bit today as well. And I may even do a future one that will go in greater depth. But I want to spend some time with you on this, is the why here. So let's get started and we'll get going here. So why do you need a website? Now, some of you have websites. You may have very complicated websites or very simple. We'll get to that. But what I want to emphasize here is why the website is even having one. And even if you have one, you may need to be reminded of this. In today's economy, in today's world that we live in, websites are critical to your business. It's the way business is being done. Yes, you may even have a brick and mortar store, and those are still viable. But getting the word out to your store, whereas before it was just depending upon local people walking by your store and, oh, I think I'll go in there and check it out. Those days, they're still there. That still happens, but on a much smaller scale. Stores now can reach far beyond the doorway. They can beyond their community, beyond their state even, into other states. And in some businesses, they're worldwide. And so you need a way to people find you. And when you build a brick and mortar store, that's a saying is build it and people will come. There's some truth in that. But when you build a website, that's not quite so true. There's some other things that have to go with it. But we're not going to be dealing with that today. Marketing your website. But you do, that is something that we will have to touch on again in the future because that is an important aspect. But why are websites themselves so important? Because they're critical in this world. People need to have a way of discovering you, of finding you. And if you're just a brick and mortar store, you can have your local community there, but I think you're going to want to, even there's an important aspect of having a website, a single page perhaps, or 2 or 3 at the most, in which you are communicating to the people out there. There may be people in your own block that your store is in that don't even know you exist. They may go by you every day and they never pay any attention. They just don't see you. And so that is something that is when we get behind the wheel, we can be very focused. We can be very unfocused too. But we can be very focused and we don't really pay attention to the homes, businesses, and so forth along the way that we're traveling. Unless we're looking for something. Then we can be focused on that and see you. So, that's where the website comes in. To reach people. To reach those potential customers. You need to be able to reach out to them and to let them know and say, maybe obviously since you're an author, you're selling books. So, I have good reads here. You want to read a good book? Come here into my store. And that's in the case of a website, you're saying, come to my website. If you only have one book, you still need a website. And the name of that website may reflect your book. But if you're planning on writing more than one book, the next step would be to identify it as your name. I used to use my name, my author's name, R. Frederick Riddle. My first website was related to my first book, which was Refuge Chronicles. I can't remember what it was. That's no longer in print. But it was it was related to the title. But I soon started writing other books, and that I moved on to R. Frederick Riddle. Well, later on, when my wife started writing books, it became T&R Independent Books, and so that became the website. And eventually, I moved to my current host, and it's located at trbookservices.com. And so that is something that you need to and be able to be flexible. I've used that word in the past. I'll use it again today, and I'll use it in the future. You have to be somewhat flexible because we're living in a changing world, and you yourself are changing, and your needs are changing. Maybe the genres that you're writing might change and so forth. So you got to be flexible enough to be able to handle that. But where are you right now? You got one book, two books, three books, more? So you want to reach the customers with whatever you have. And having a website is important for that. So it's critical in the world we live in, just to let people know you exist. Now you're reaching them to tell them about your books, put your books out there. And then, okay, let's say you have a brick and mortar store. Well, how do people find your store? Well, remember though I was talking to you about they can drive by and not even see you, but unless they're looking for you, focused on looking around and seeing the stores that are out there. Well, you give them directions, and it can be a one-page website where you can get the directions, maybe a listing of your books if it's really small. But if you're a brick and mortar, you probably have a whole lot of books. So your brick and mortar bookstore, and so you might want to let them know of what you have. You might want to let them know, well, this is the physical directions to drive there, but here's our phone number. Oh, by the way, here's my picture, and I'm the friendly neighborhood bookstore owner, something of that nature. So a website helps you communicate directions. Say critical in this world we live in. It gives you a reach to your customers, and it enables you to give them directions, and not only directions but more information about your bookstore. Now comes this next one. A website gives you authenticity. Another thing it gives you along the same line is authority. So let's say you're an author. If you're a novelist. Now, people want to know a little bit about you. They want to know a little bit about your book. Well, people are not going to know much about you unless they come across it. Now, you can put it out there on Facebook and LinkedIn and all the other social medias, and that is definitely going to help. But where are they going to go? What are they going to click on? Because what the purpose of doing that kind of advertising on social media is to invite them to a destination. That destination would be your website or a page, a landing page. But in any case, you need and then that website can actually serve as your landing page, especially if it's only a one-page website. But in my case, I use my home page as the landing page, and then sometimes I'll be advertising particular books, and I'll take them right to my bookstore, maybe right to the book. So there's different things you can do, and all that gives you some authenticity. When they read about you and find out more about you, it gives them an idea of who you are, what kind of skills you have, what your interest is, what other books you might have written. You may have different things you have done. You may have awards you've earned or other things that you have that you believe gives you authenticity. You can include that in your website. And so that is something that is very, very important. And by the way, you'll probably be updating your website. So any new stuff that you get, that adds to your credibility, adds to your authenticity, you can put there. Public website gives you puts your books out there in the public eye. If you go to my bookstore, I have the whole website there, and then one of my tabs it says TR Books or TR Bookstore. And anyhow, you go there, and in there you find them by departments. The way I have mine structured, there's a picture and you click on the picture or you click on the obvious link. Either way, it links to in the area where the category that it represents, and in that category you'll find whatever books that I market. I still use we. I've been a widower now for almost 2 years, and I still use the we. And I don't apologize for it. Just let you know that I do that. But it's I for right now, and I'm the sole owner of TNR Independent Books. And when you come to my bookstore and you click on a picture which represents a category, it will take you to whatever I have in that category. And so it might be more than one. I have a book out about my wife called The Best of Tess, and you click on inspirational, and that picture there I believe is a picture of my wife. Or you click on another picture later on, you'll see a picture of me, and I'm talking about writing, and you click on that. Devotions, I think it is. There's another one that's called Devotions, and so you do different look at different departments, and you can look at, or actually the departments are basically categories or genres, however you want to think of it. And so you could actually literally have a book that you've written that can be in multiple categories or genres. And the idea would be that if they go to one category, they'll find your book. They go to another one, they'll find that book. They go to still another one, they'll find that book. And that's not bad. It actually brings that book up several times to them. So you want it in the public eye. So what you want, it's critical to operating in this world we live in today. Not having a website is almost like being a handicap. You want to be, you want to have some kind of a website. Whether we are going to get into that in a minute. Simple business and the e-commerce. So it's critical. It gives you a way to reaching potential customers. It gives them directions to how they can find you. Even if you're not in brick and mortar, it can give directions to. You may have a blog. Well, in that it will give them. You may have that blog connected right on the website, like I do, and so they'll have availability to that. You may want them to know. They might want to know, are you on Amazon? Well, it can give you directions to that. It can give you different directions for different things. And so, authenticity, we already went to that in a degree. The public eye. And now let's look at the types. So, the simple. That's a 1 page, 2 or 3 page at the most. And basically what you want to give them in this is, we just talked about it, directions. How about a picture about you, giving them and introducing yourself to the public? Now, yes, the people who operate around their store around yours, if you have a brick and mortar store, may know you. People who are your neighbors may know you, but they may not know you're an author. I've had people who I've known for years. I've told them I was an author, but somehow it didn't register. And then one day they said, "I didn't know you were an author." Don't get upset. Just smile and be glad that they finally found out. But the website will help them do that. And a simple website will accommodate that. It's called an about page, or you can have it right on your. If it's a single page, it would simply be maybe one column or something with a picture and a little brief column tell them who you are. It can also tell them about what book or books you've written. And that same page can have the directions, and so you can do a lot of things on one page, just in a very small scale though, because you don't want it to be overburdened, so you want to keep it small and concise, and so that people will read it, they can scan it, say, oh, this is what I want, this is what I'm looking for, and it will direct them. And so simple is one, if you're new to the idea of a website, you might want to start out there. I believe my very first one I ever did was one page. I may have actually done two or three, because I think I may have had a home page, an about page, and a contact page, and that's about it. So that's something that you want to consider, as having a simple. How about a business page? A lot of your hosts, they will advertise and make a difference between a business page and an e-commerce page. Basically, from my experience, the business page and the e-commerce page are very similar yet different. The business page will put out your products there in the public eye, but the person can't buy your product there unless you have, say, a PayPal button or something like that. Now you're on the verge of e-commerce, but that's what I'm saying, it's very close. But usually a business page does everything and then will send you elsewhere. Maybe your books are sold on Amazon and only on Amazon. You don't sell them directly. So a business page, you would have a link to Amazon or whoever publishes your books. E-commerce page, you are actually selling your books, you're marketing them, and you have information about your books, you can price them. And one of the things that's different here is that whereas a business page might send a link to whoever you have marketing your books, the e-commerce page can do that, and at the same time it can be selling your books right there from that page, from that website. And I use an e-commerce, and so I also have Amazon. And so my ads and so forth as time goes forward, I'm going to have more and more ads, some going out to Amazon and some coming to the website. Right now I'm focused on the website, but Amazon itself has some advertising, and I can advertise through them if I so choose. But I can use social media and point people to anywhere I want them to go to meet their need. And that's the key thing here. When you are trying to reach out to the public, you are trying to meet their need. In this case, a book to read, a good read, as they say. It may be for a novel, entertainment. It may be a book that's a how-to, or at the very least, it's nonfiction, it's informative. And so both of these will work. You might want to start out with business and then upgrade to e-commerce. They depend upon what you want to do. You could skip business and go directly to e-commerce. But these are the three types: simple, business, and e-commerce. Depends upon your needs. It depends upon what your goals are, how much time you're willing to spend and invest in this business. And each one of these is a little bit more expensive. This business costs more than the simple, and e-commerce costs more than the business. But a lot of your hosts are out there are constantly putting these things on sale so that you can save you some money, at least in the first year. After that, it might go back up. But in any case, you have those three. And so that is what I wanted to convey to you today about having a website. So, critical, having reaching potential customers, provide them with directions and some necessary information that they might need. Authenticity, it gives them some clarity as to are they really interested? It may be the thing that really sells them. They're interested when they do this, but when they get to this, and then that might help them make up their mind. And it puts your books out there in the public eye. And then you can get the simple, the business, or the e-commerce. And so that is what I'm going to do on that today. I want you to think about that, because that is something that, while it's not really small, I think it's important, a very important aspect, but sometimes we might forget about it. We put it out there, and then we got our website done, and we forget about it. Websites have a short span of life. That's not the way I want to say it. That attention span. People, if they visit your website, they learn a lot, okay? But when you put your website out there, whatever host you have, and whatever method they're using to host your website, let's say it's Amazon, or let's say it's WordPress. Let's say it's WordPress. So you create your website there, and then it just sits there. They have what they call algorithms, and so they look at your website, and it hasn't changed over a period of time. It hasn't changed. And so they have this algorithm. You may be up here at the top at one time, and then slowly it starts dropping down. Why? Because you're static. You're not changing. So I would encourage you to occasionally, maybe at least maybe on a monthly basis, go in there and do something. Now mine changes regularly in the sense that I have a blog. It goes in there. It's once a week. I also go in and update different things in books and add things in. I update the bio on me, and it's things of this nature. And you can do that. And you can even do it on a weekly or even a daily basis. The more often you do it, it's the way I understand it, the way they explain it, is that brings you up. So you're down here, and it brings you up. The algorithm. And the closer to the top you get, the more opportunity people have of finding you. And so that's something that you need to consider, is your presence, updating frequently your website. So first of all, have a website. Choose whether you want simple, business, or e-commerce. And then third, update frequently. And that hopefully that will get you some notice. Another way of bringing that notice out is business cards and things of this nature to let people know about your website. And so anything you can do to bring your face, your book, what you are so proud of and what you want to sell to the public eye, you need a website. You need a social media platform too, for that matter. And you also need to update frequently so to keep it up there and let it be known we found out. And the days of just walking by a store are coming to an end. I don't think it will ever come to an end, but in proportion to the economy, it's coming to an end, because your outreach is growing. To stay alive, to stay relevant, you need a broader and broader base, and so you're reaching outside your local community, and especially when you're talking about books. So that is it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this particular episode. And if you find my advice and tips helpful, why not subscribe below? By doing so, you not only get this podcast delivered to your channel, but also any other podcast. You see, I have this one here is called Becoming a Published Author is Fun. I have another podcast called Christian News and Views, where I interpret the news of the day. Usually it's a major news item, and I interpret it in a Christian worldview. Also, once a week, I address the Word of God itself, and I explain why I believe the King James Version is the only version for the English-speaking people. I compare it. I look at it. I look at the accusations, the complaints, or whatever people say out there about the King James, and I respond to them. I use facts. I research. I make sure that I'm giving you facts as to what is true. So, and then I do that all from a Christian perspective. But aside from that, when you subscribe, you also encourage me to continue delivering valuable content you can use. So with that in mind, I'm going to close it off and thank you for paying attention and for visiting this podcast. And I look forward to seeing you again in the next episode.